Palin there. Well, joining us live from New York is Michael Maslansky, president of the strategists Luntz and Maslansky. And here in the studio is Mary Jordan, the London correspondent for the Washington Post. So, Mary Jordan, did you like Governor Palin? I mean, do you think she might help win over women voters of whatever persuasion?
Well, it was a shocking choice. I think that clearly an exquisitely timed one. No one's talking about Barack Obama. Everyone's talking about the woman on the ticket. She is clearly designed to come in and grab women voters. And she is, I mean, some women are going to like her. By all accounts, people up in Alaska love her. The conservatives love her. But I don't think there's such a thing as winning all women voters over. But if she gets those disaffected Hillary voters in a tight race, she could be the answer.
And might she?
Yes.
Although she's very different from Hillary Clinton, of course, socially conservative. Hillary Clinton isn't.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's kind of silly. There's no such thing as one. There, you know, a lot of people wanted McCain to pick a woman, but they didn't necessarily want him to pick one that nobody ever heard of.
Okay. Michael Maslansky, are we making too much of this? I mean, do people really vote according to who the vice presidential candidate is? Isn't it the presidential candidate is what really matters for voters?
Well, I think some of it depends on the vice presidential candidate. I think in the case of Joe Biden, there's a chance that really people will decide that they were a little concerned about Barack Obama, but with Joe Biden at his side, there's a reason to vote for Obama and put their trust in Obama. I think with the governor from Alaska, I'm not sure that there are people who were concerned about voting for McCain who are now going to vote for McCain as a result of that pick. What I will say is I think that there are people on the conservative side who were unenthusiastic supporters of McCain who will now be more enthusiastic supporters of McCain, because one message that this clearly sends is that McCain is a conservative.
Mary Jordan, I just want to ask you something. We know she's socially very conservative, opposed to abortion. Apparently, when she discovered that her fifth child had Down syndrome, she went ahead and had the baby. But how is that going to play, do you think, with women, particularly those who are pro-choice? Could actually be a turn-off, couldn't it?
I think some people are already jamming up our website saying, she has a sick little baby and she's on the campaign trail. So some conservatives actually are going to think, hey, maybe she should be at home, a stay-at-home mom. So there's going to be all kinds of splits on this.
Only born in April, the baby, apparently.
Only in April. And on the other hand, the Christian right is literally jumping up and down in America because she is so against abortion rights. And I think Obama's people are going to say, oh, don't you dare grab that history moniker from us, because there's no such thing as a vice president on the dollar bill. It's the head of the ticket that counts. It's not really about her, it's about McCain and Obama.
Okay, and Michael Maslansky, that point Mary Jordan made, I mean, for real sort of full-blooded social conservatives, could actually her sex be a turn-off? They think, oh, she ought to be staying at home looking after the kids.
For some, I think that her record and her values on the conservative side are going to be much more of a benefit. But I will say I think that the McCain campaign has misjudged in one respect, which is the fact that she's a woman is going to appeal to the Hillary voters who weren't planning to vote for Obama. I mean, I think you have to remember that, yes, they were primarily female, the people who were not yet set to vote for Obama, but they were also not, many of them were not voting for Obama because they didn't think that he had the experience, and that what was keeping them from supporting Obama after Hillary left the race was this sense that he was not ready to lead. So now McCain goes and picks somebody who I think also it's at best questionable as to whether or not she's ready to lead. I don't see how that drives that crucial 15% of the Hillary vote that hadn't yet moved to Obama into McCain's camp.
Okay, and Mary Jordan, I mean, there are obviously a lot of efforts by female activists to try to get more women into politics in the United States, of whatever party. Do you think the fact that she has been nominated by John McCain is going to be another example of how that glass ceiling can be broken in politics by women?
I think some people are going to be really happy about that, and some women are going to be thinking, wow, this woman is a ploy. She was the mayor of a town that didn't even have 10,000 people, and you're telling us that we should vote for your presidency because you just put this woman out of nowhere who hunts and fishes and has 5 kids?
Are you accusing them of being tokenistic?
You know, I mean, people are saying it's a ploy, so some women won't like that. But yes, of course, other women are going to say it's time the glass ceiling is broken. I think the most important thing she's done is put some electricity into the McCain campaign, because Obama had it. I mean, no one's talking about Obama right now because they have stolen the limelight. This is a shocker.
Michael Maslansky, I mean, what do opinion polls tell us about gender? I mean, do women vote differently from men on different issues? Are they more inclined to think about what candidates say about social policy rather than foreign policy, for instance?
Well, I think, yes, women have a much more personal perspective on their vote. I think they tend to be, in many cases, much closer to pocketbook issues. They often run the family checkbook. They're dealing with day-to-day concerns. And so things that hit close to home and stories that hit close to home can be attractive to them. I will say one of the things that we tested a couple of months ago was whether people were more concerned, and this was a bit inflammatory, whether people were more concerned about John McCain being too old and dying in office or Barack Obama being assassinated in office. And overwhelmingly, people were more concerned, thought it was a greater likelihood that John McCain would die in office. And if that's the case, then people have to be questioning whether or not they want to now vote for John McCain with a very young vice presidential candidate.
Okay, Michael Maslansky, live from New York, and Mary Jordan here in the studio. Thank you both very much indeed. And coming up later in this program,